What I was going to touch on, obviously, is during your time at the 18s, Nate, you trained a bit with the first team as well. So I just wanted to get what sort of that was like. Obviously, Swindon in that season, I think, were going towards the playoffs in League One, going to the Championship. So you were obviously training with the first team at that point. How did you find that, and what sort of experience is that like, first team training?
I think, obviously we were lucky enough. Being at Swindon, not having the budgets to have a 23s reserve team did mean that if the team was training for a big game or whatever to make up the numbers, the under 18s had to step up and be that team. So I can remember, I think it was 3 games before the playoffs actually started. I think it was in about the 2014 season. We had to, as under 18s, we had to be Preston North End and do everything Preston North End done in training. So the first team knew how to play against Preston North End before the playoffs. We had to be Sheffield United before the playoffs. It was a good experience, to play against some of the best players that Swindon's ever had, such as Nathan Burney. He's gone on to do some decent things in football. Obviously, play at Wigan, Wolves as well. He got this big money move to Wolves from Swindon. Ben Gladwin, another one. He was a brilliant pro. Wes Fodringham, I know he's just got released from Rangers, but he obviously went to Rangers from Swindon. At the time, they had Massimo Luongo. He's now at QPR.
He was decent, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played for Australia in the World Cup in that season. So it was kind of like, you was very quickly going from the technical side of football to learning what League One football was all about by training with some of them players. And
did they have Jack Stevens as well?
Yeah, Jack Stevens, brilliant bloke. Yeah, he always spoke to the younger lads as well. Was never arrogant, never turned his nose up.
Not like Paolo Di Canio.
Not like Di Canio at all. I think the first team, when I was there, to be honest, I was lucky enough to have a decent first team that didn't care if there was youngsters about. They treated you just the same as everyone else. There was a reason why they was near the top of the league and nearly went up that season, just because in training it didn't matter who you were. They would treat you just the same as the rest. If you didn't have a good touch in training, they'd go mad at you just the same as they go mad at the next bloke by them if they gave the ball away. If you'd done something really good in training, they'd be very quick to get in your back and say, that's brilliant, make sure you keep doing it. And they were very happy to keep trying to develop you as a player. So, I was lucky enough to train with them a fair bit to learn what it was all about, really.
Who was the manager that season?
Mark Cooper.
Oh, okay.
Was the gaffer that season. He's now at Forest Green, obviously. So
right, yeah.
I know it's strange. First team football. The manager doesn't take a lot of the sessions.
No, yeah.
They do more of the technical stuff at the back end, to be honest with you. You get coaches, and it was even to the point where fitness coaches do all the warm up, even little ball drills to start with. So it shows how far the game's come, because I'm pretty sure when I first started out, you probably would have had the manager pretty much do it all. So nowadays, a manager sort of selects the team and does the sort of latter stages of training, the most important bits, the technical bits, which is the bits you probably learn most from as a youngster. Do you know what I mean? Like being a right back, pretending to be God knows who for Sheffield United or whatever, and all of a sudden you have Nathan Byrne, who's the best player in League One, running at you, chopping the ball at you left, right and centre. You kind of... And he takes it around you easy, and all of a sudden you've got the first team manager having a go, saying, make it harder for him. You're sort of looking around saying, how can I make this any harder for a bloke that's the best player in the league? Do you know what I mean? So, good experience, nonetheless, really.
Definitely, yeah.
What I was going to say, obviously touching on management as well, is something else you got to do, obviously, after you were at Swindon, was go down to the coaching day in Wales, and sort of like, you obviously got to meet some good people at that, like Thierry Henry and stuff. And just talk us through that day and like whose sessions you took part in and how you found them as managers and coaches.
So the PFA and the Football League try to help players that have been in the game get back into the game. So when you're released at 18s level, whatever, they try and put you back into schemes, put you on transfer lists, training days and things such as that. So the FA down in Wales, they do a fast track on all their coaching courses. So any of the big coaches in this country is just coming through. They all go to Wales to get their badges quicker because they present them quicker, allow them to move up the levels quicker than what they do in the English FA. So I had a email come through from the Welsh FA, which it's one of those you're ready to chuck in sort of your junk. You think, oh, it's a load of rubbish, and then you sort of read it, and it's like you've been selected at random as a bunch of training players to be on the pro license coaching courses. So basically, what we had to do is we had to go down and we had to be part of the session for these managers, coaches, whatever, to sort of, you know, get their badges, whatever, to present it. So not thinking anything of it, I sort of wrote back and was like, yeah, you're going to get a bit more information come through. There's going to be, they say, 600 to 700 coaches there from all levels. But you're predominantly, you're going to be involved in the main sessions on the Saturday morning and early afternoon. You're going to be helping achieve the pro license and A license for a couple of coaches. Nearer the time, we'll let you know who it is. Again, you think nothing of it, and then all of a sudden you get a list of names come through. I had Tim Sherwood, Thierry Henry, an American coach, a coach who now does England under-17s and is technical coach at England, set up now in the FA. So you're thinking, you sort of look down that list straight away and you see Thierry Henry, don't you? And you think,
you see Tim Sherwood.
Brilliant. I'm gonna be. I knew of Tim Sherwood anyway.
Yeah, was he at Swindon?
He was. I don't know how it worked really. He was sort of around.
He's sporting director,
yeah,
I think.
Oh, okay,
something like that.
So we should be talking about Tim Sherwood.
You probably never saw him anyway, to be honest. So.
We saw bits of him, so sort of knew of him, and he used to have sort of a right-hand man with him. He was down at this training day, so sort of when I walked into him, there was two lads who got released from Swindon at the same time as me. He was there as well. So we were sort of buzzing because we've seen each other. We didn't even know each other were going. We sort of rocked up, and in the change rooms, you look across and you see people you know, and you're like, oh, it's crazy. I didn't realise you was coming. And obviously all these coaches were walking around, and in the car park, you've seen all these nice cars. So you're trying to guess, oh, that must be such and such, such and such. So you're kept in this holding room, and then you're taken out. So we trained on the first team pitch that the Welsh FA train on. So the one that you see all the pictures with Bale and all that lot on, we trained on that pitch. We got out, we had like a little warm up, and then Tim Sherwood come out anyway. He obviously spotted me and the two Swindon lads, so he sort of used us people in his session to do all the practice drills with before he opened it up to the group. So that was quite good. And then obviously Henry starts walking out, and as soon as you see Henry come out, everyone sort of gets up and they're like buzzing. They're trying to do something special. And then you look into the stand where they've got all these other coaches, and there was people like Mick McCarthy in there, Arteta was in there, Lundberg, Sol Campbell. So yeah, it was a brilliant experience. It was really good. Wow. Yeah, it was really good. Different.
How did you rate like the session then from like Tim Sherwood and Thierry Henry? Obviously, Thierry Henry, someone who's struggled in coaching. Could you see that potentially? Yeah, massively. I think, I don't want to put him down.
He's not a manager.
You have this assumption he's been one of the best players, you know, sort of our time and everything. You think, oh, he's going to be ace. He's going to have some tricks up his sleeve. Technically, when he shows a drill off and he's saying what he wants, he can show it. He's ridiculous. Like he was doing this session where you could only pass forward. You wasn't allowed to pass backwards. And for me, it was just a really false situation. So like the centre midfielder was receiving the ball, and if he couldn't pass it backwards, he was trying to keep the ball to impress. So he was trying to like play it wide or whatever. And Henry kept stopping the session. He was like, no, I want you to play forward. You have to play forward. It was very much out of the training manual. It was very like, he was like a robot really. He was like, you have to do this. And the kid just couldn't seem to get it. So Henry said to him, you stand to the side. We play. As soon as I play the ball into the keeper, I'm you, and we play live off that. And I remember the keeper sort of rolling this ball out to Henry, and Henry stopped it again. He said, no, you do this at pace. This is how I always done it. He goes, Seaman was the best at this. Just throw the ball at me as hard as you can. Throw the ball at me. So this kid's gone, all right. So they said play, and this defender's obviously wanting to win the ball and smash Henry. And as soon as this ball comes to Henry, this defender goes to smash him. Henry flicks it up on the swivel and volleys from about 30 yards into the stanch. Turns around to everyone and goes, "That's what I mean. That's what I want." And you're just like,
easier said than done, Thierry. Easier said than done.
You can't coach, but you can still play. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's weird. But you go into a Sherwood session, and technically, you know, he's a brilliant coach. You can see why he's obviously coached at, you know, the likes of Tottenham and that, and I think he's had a few roles sort of at other clubs that people probably don't know about, doing a bit of coaching. But yeah, he was decent. But yeah, for me, Henry wasn't a good coach, but heck of a player.